Hey y'all, what's up? I'm really excited to do this video today because I've never done an art haul before. I mean, I have, but I haven't recorded it and filmed it for you guys. So I'm super excited. As you can see, I'm in my baby's nursery. She is a very generous baby and she is sharing her nursery with me. It is also my office and my little art studio. So apologies for the laundry and kind of the mess, but when you have a newborn, hey, that's kind of what it is. So anyway, I have this box here. Let's turn this around. I have this box here and it's from Blick. I just ordered it online and I can't wait to open it, and I'll do a little overhead for you guys so you can see what I got. I'm really on this quest to find the best brand of gouache. And when I say gouache, I mean regular gouache, not acrylic gouache. I'm really happy with the acrylic gouache that I use. I use Holbein. I haven't tried any other brands of acrylic gouache because I am happy with it. The only real complaint I have is that it's expensive, but I'm happy with it. I have a ton of acrylic gouache. I've just kind of gone all in, and everything that I've earned in my business, I've sort of put back into buying art supplies. I just want every color. And I think part of it is just that I love buying art supplies. I mean, right? It's just a little addiction. I'd rather buy art supplies than new shoes. So yes to that. But when I say I'm on a quest to find the perfect regular gouache, I mean the kind that reactivates with water. So my current set of gouache, I'm using Winsor and Newton straight out of the tube. I love it. It's great. It has amazing light fastness. It's very pigmented. It's a beautiful paint, but you are supposed to be able to reactivate it with water once it's dry, a lot like watercolor, right? But the problem with it is that it gets super crumbly and it cracks. And even after I try to re-wet it, it's still crumbly and cracky, and I can't use it. It's not the same. You know, maybe I need to leave it overnight, but then the metal tin palette that I have gets kind of rusty. Anyway, it's just kind of a mess, and I'm very militant about trying to find like the perfect system to use regular gouache. I don't like to waste paint, and so that's why it is important to me to be able to reactivate it with water once it's dry. That's something that I really like about the medium. Unlike the acrylic gouache, which once it's dry, you know, it's acrylic paint, like you can't re-wet it. And that's something that I like about the acrylic gouache, because you can work in layers and layers and layers. But the reason why I want to use regular gouache is because it does have that quality a little bit more like watercolor. For me, I want to get better at watercolor, but it's not the most forgiving medium because you can't paint light on top of dark. Now, if you're good about building up your layers and you're really patient and you're able to wait for those layers to dry and then just work from light to dark, then, you know, watercolor works. And I do want to get better at it. I do want to practice. But as of right now, I'm like, well, why do watercolor when I can do regular gouache? But I'm having this issue with it crumbling and cracking, and it gets nasty. It's hard to travel with because it gets actually sticky and it gets all over everything, even though it was totally dry when I packed it. So that's my issue, and I've heard that people really like Holbein, Schminke, and Turner. So I have not tried all of those brands, but in this box I bought Holbein regular gouache. So I already have the acrylic gouache, but I bought the regular gouache. I also bought more colors of the Winsor and Newton, and I'm kind of regretting it and wondering if maybe I should have just like waited and not gotten so excited and see if I like the Holbein better first. Winsor and Newton has such great colors. So, that's my issue. All right, so let's open the box. Okay, so let's open this box here and see what I got. Okay, so first things first, this annoys me. Like, why do we need all of this plastic? I get that it's recyclable or whatever, but really? I mean, it's just paint. Like, I'm not buying anything breakable or fragile. No, thank you. All right, look at all of this stuff. How cool is this? All right, these are the Holbein gouache paints, and they sent me a little thing. So I got the turquoise green, moss green. Let me see that. moss green, turquoise green, and cobalt green pale. So I'm wanting to get a lot of greens because I'm wanting to do more landscapes and more kind of vacation and jungly scenes. You can always always mix paints, but I just like being able to work from it straight out of the tube or not do too much mixing to it, because that way I can always come back to the same color and I don't have to wonder, how did I mix this again? How did I get this color? Yada yada. It's just nice to be able to work from it straight out of the tube. This is ash green, terra verde. I have this in a watercolor and I like it, but it's a little kind of blurry. It's not super pigmented, so I'm excited to use this in the gouache. I think it's gonna be better. And I have a permanent green deep. I'm excited to swatch all of these too. And I tried to get colors that I didn't already have in the Winsor and Newton colors. So at least if I end up keeping all of these, I've never returned art supplies, but Blick does have a really great return policy. So it's possible if the Winsor and Newton really aren't working out, I could return them. That's the ash blue, a turquoise blue, and a brilliant orange. Let me see if I have any more Holbein. So we have a lot of, oh no, these are Holbein. Okay, this is olive green. So I have so many greens. It's gonna be nice though to swatch them and see which ones are my favorite. Let's just dump these all out. See, they come in these cardboard boxes too, so why this plastic? This is stupid. Nothing's gonna happen to these paints, especially if they're in these boxes. They're fine. They are fine, people. A peacock blue, so I'm curious to see what that looks like. I'm kind of like, I'm testing out similar shades, so you're probably like, Lauren, why did you get a turquoise blue and a peacock blue? Why did you get all these greens? Well, I wanna see which one is my favorite. Rich gold. Yeah, so I don't have these in Winsor and Newton. Ice blue, but that's a beautiful color. Brilliant pink. Okay, so I have this in watercolor and I love it. So I'm really excited that I have a good pink in gouache. I need to test it out first, but I think it's gonna be good. And same with these, I believe, yeah. I guess you say the John Brilliant #1 and #2. So these are just really great, like peachy colors. The rest might be Winsor and Newton, who knows? Oh no, here's more Holbein. Okay, so I have cadmium green pale. Lots and lots of greens. Just dump these out. I'm glad I got so many Holbein colors. I really hope that they don't crumble. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to work straight from the tube. And I don't like that because I don't like wasting paint. But there may be a way if I find a good palette to keep them wet and not let them dry out. Here's a pink. Curious to see how that one looks against the brilliant pink. Sepia. I really enjoy using sepia instead of a black for my like kind of a warmer black. And I believe they also had a Payne's gray, which is so good. Winsor and Newton I don't think has a Payne's gray. Okay, I got brilliant gold, interesting. And pearl gold. I got a lot of golds. I'm surprised I did that. I hope they're not metallic-y. Cadmium green deep. Okay, I was about to say, please tell me I didn't get that twice, but these are different. There's a permanent green deep and a cadmium green deep. This one's a little bit bluer. And a pearl copper. I bet these are metallic-y, I wonder. Why did I get those? Ooh, I'm really excited about this lilac color. That's gorgeous and very on trend right now. Dark green, so we have so many greens to swatch. Lovely. Okay, I think that's all the Holbein. Everything else says Winsor and Newton. So let's look at the watercolors that I got. Again, I needed more greens. These are colors that I didn't already have. This is the green gold. And I heard Jenna Rainey, who is an amazing watercolor artist, really raving about this color. And so I'm excited to try it. It's one that I didn't have. This olive green is another one. As you can tell, I'm trying to get all the good greens. And a Turner's yellow. I used to work in Turner's yellow a lot in oil paint, but I've never tried it in watercolor. So I'm excited to try those. I'm just gonna leave those off to the side. All right, and then I bought a bunch of colors in the Winsor and Newton. Now why they have their own individual boxes is beyond me. One piece of paint, I guess, whatever. I don't understand that, but okay. This is red ochre. So these are all colors that I didn't have. This is a gold ochre. This is a turquoise blue. This is oxide of chromium, and I really love this color again in watercolor, but I've never tried it in gouache. So I'm excited to try this color. Naples yellow. I do have, I think, a Naples yellow deep, but I'm excited to have this lighter color. I mean, really, I would just love all the colors. I want every color. And I would really love to be able to create custom colors from Pantone. This is a flame red. Again, not because, I mean, I was a fine art major in school. I know how to mix paints. And I guess if you do it enough, you can kind of remember, or there are multiple ways to kind of get to the same color, but it's just nice to be able to work right out of the tube. This is an olive green, so that you don't have to guess what you did. That's the designer in me trying to work from like exact Pantones. I'm like ruined forever. And when I did get a gold, I bet this is metallic-y. I just got too excited. Raw umber, this is always a good staple color to have, so we will swatch it in the gouache. Permanent green deep. Oh, I think I have, yeah, okay, so these may look different, but I have permanent green deep in Holbein as well, so I hope that these look a little bit different. Raw sienna, also another good staple color to have. Worked a lot with this in oils. And pale rose blush. It's so hard to get good pinks, especially in watercolor, but gouache is a little bit better, but I'm excited to try this color. I think it's gonna be very pretty. All right, let's swatch some paints. So I have my big mason jar of water, and I'm just making 2 of these because I like to be able to cut up my color swatches and then use them kind of like Pantone chips. So if I'm trying to create a new palette, I don't need to repaint every time. I can just, this is my acryla gouache, by the way. I can just pull out these chips and I know which paint it is. So if I want to make a new palette, you know, I can just work from these chips, just like Pantone chips. So that's why I really like doing that. And then I like having one sheet as well that keeps a record of all the paints that I have. So I always know if I can't find a chip or something, then I know what colors I have just from one page. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I just went back and sprayed with water on top of some dried gouache, and it was getting cracky and crumbly or whatever, especially this viridian, even in the tube, is kind of looking dried out. But I just went back and am squirting the existing colors that I already have back in the same spot. So I should be able to reactivate these no problem and kind of get the color that I need. I hate wasting paint. So anyway, these I have a palette of color swatches, so I know what order they're in and everything like that. It's not everything that I have, so I'm gonna have to use this other dish to continue and then add in the new colors that I have. Everything that's new is over on this side that has never been swatched. I wanna also keep everything together in the right way, but see that? It's crumbling everywhere. Get off. So we have this of my existing palette. All of my existing colors are over here. These are what's here. New colors on this side, and they're gonna have to go in this dish, I guess. For me to be able to swatch these. And I have a whole row of colors. This row of colors is gonna go here. So that's how we're staying organized. I've been watching Sandy Hester's YouTube channel, and I love how she just messes around on the page in her sketchbook and kind of swatches things super loose in that way. And I want to be loose and free like that, but I need to be organized. The designer side of me is like, nope, you have to be organized or you're not gonna know what you did. This is just some palette paper. That is the Stay Wet paper. I don't know if that's the right term for that. I can't remember, but I've made it damp. Okay, so here's what I did. These are all my Winsor and Newton colors, and starting here are my new colors. You can see some of them really just came out of the tube really liquidy and weird. As for the Holbein colors, you can see the consistency was pretty nice. Only the regular pink, this color, was kind of dry when it came out of the tube. but none of them got too liquidy. They all came out of the tube nice, and these are all Holbein. These are definitely all metallic colors, which I really didn't need, so I may return those. I've never returned paint before. I feel really weird doing that. Leave me a comment and let me know if you would return paint if you like accidentally got the wrong thing, or if it was just a color you really didn't like. I mean, these are expensive paints, so I probably should return them, but I just feel bad. I've never done that before. All right, well, let's get started. I'm gonna start out with my cools and start out with my blues and go into greens, purples, and then, well, maybe I should start with purples and then go into blues because I don't have that many purples. I'm not gonna swatch these in the same exact order. I want to really try to group all the blues together so that I can compare them. Yeah, okay, I think I'm just gonna, what do I wanna do? I think I'm gonna just stick to the same order. And that way, well, no, I'm gonna label them. I'm gonna label them on the page, but then I won't know what's in here if I don't stick to the same order. This is where, militant. But anyway, these are all of the Holbein colors. Aren't they pretty? I'm excited to try these. But see, I'll have these loose swatches, so maybe I don't need to stick to the same order. I think I don't need to. Okay, that kind of resolves that. Okay, so before I put the color on the paper, I'm gonna write down the name of the color. Prussian. And I'm just gonna put that these are Winsor and Newton. Okay, so let's do the same thing on these loose cards, and that way I can always just create a palette from loose cards. Peacock blue is such a great name for a color. I love that. Okay, so that's it for my blues. I'm gonna bring a scrap piece of paper down as well so I don't mess up the rest of my swatches. All right, now I'm just gonna use a size 4 Utrecht brush. It's just a little synthetic brush. That's all I really know about it. Okay, so my first one is Prussian blue. My goal for this is to kind of show how light the colors can get with water, but also show how dark and pigmented they are and kind of create a gradation. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing. Okay, nice, I love that. The next one is indigo. I think I got too much paint on there. Let's try that. As I'm working, I just really don't want to touch because then these guys are bleed and the colors will mix, and that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid. This is not really how phthalo blue looks in other colors. This is looking a lot more turquoise, or phthalo blue in watercolor, for example, is much more pigmented. It's a much darker blue. It does have a green tint to it, but it's a lot darker and more vibrant, more saturated. It's a bluer blue. So it's interesting to see, even from the same company, how the gouache color looks quite different from the exact same name color in a different medium, even though regular gouache and watercolor, you know, is supposed to be pretty similar. Cerulean is always a nice light color though. It's nice. The Winsor and Newton, I have to say, for all the crumbly issues that I hate, they do have really nice colors. So you can see we have a really nice range of blues here, and we go from more muted colors to really saturated, popping colors that are more red-based blues. They're more purpley, more green-based blues. This one really kind of belongs more over here, but you can kind of take your pick between which colors you're liking the most. Okay, next I'm gonna move these and let these dry. So we also have this ash blue. And then from there, we're gonna jump into our teals. That kind of makes a nice segue into our greens. So the ones I had from Winsor & Newton are Cypress Green and Cobalt Turquoise Light. But I also have some nice options from Holbein. Okay, so I'm gonna do these teals first, and then we'll jump into the greens. Starting out with kind of our bluer greens, but the Holbein gouache is just so creamy. It's really nice. Definitely a different texture than the Winsor & Newton. And this really looks gray, which is nice. I mean, the color is ash blue, but it really just looks like a cooler gray, which is nice to have. Okay, this is the Cypress Green. Ooh, that's really rich. I need more water. Okay, the next one is Turquoise Blue from Winsor & Newton. And that is one of my new colors. Okay, and then we have Ice Blue from Holbein. Ooh, it's more green, even though it's called Ice Blue. It is a greener color, for sure. so next let's jump into the greens. I may leave these blank, just in case I buy more blues down the road. I have some extra slots, so that I can kind of keep all of the blues together. Okay, so these are all kind of our bluer leaning greens. You may have some surprises, but that's my best guess. So here's our dark green, and when you just add a lot of water, you can see the hue. You have to add a lot of water though, because it does get dark really quickly. You can see how dark that gets really quickly. I love that color, that's really nice. It's gonna be a pretty bluey color, I think too. Yeah, it's a very bluey green. By the way, I am working on just kind of a student grade watercolor paper. It's not anything special. I can't even really remember what it is, because I've had it for so long. And I just always keep these little scrap pieces of paper this is from when I made handmade sketchbooks. So you should always keep these little pieces for swatches, and that's what I've cut up here and I'm using for swatches, so it's nice. It's a nice color too. I'm really liking the dark green though. It has more of a yellower tint. I wouldn't consider that a turquoise green. That's interesting. It's definitely got a blue tint to it, but it's a green green. I mean, I think of, yeah, it's kind of minty. Okay, so if I get more pigment, I can go quite dark. Yeah, that's nice. I wouldn't call that a turquoise green though, that's funny. Cobalt green pale is our next one. Yeah, these Holbein colors are just really creamy. I like how it's wetting straight out of the tube. That's a nice color. It's kind of neutrally. I wasn't expecting that. And it's definitely bluer than the turquoise green, which is interesting. Yeah, to me this is just so minty. I like it, but funny name choice. And then we have the ash green, which is gonna be a lot more neutrally. We'll see how it looks. Like this ended up looking so gray. Let's see how this, oh yeah, it still looks, I think it still reads green. My baby is starting to stir, so I might have to take a break and go feed her in just a minute. I'm watching her on her monitor, so yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take a pause and come back to this in just a minute. Hi everyone, I am back and my baby is fed and I've pumped. Hooray! Mom life. Okay, we can still do things. We can still do things and be something other than just a mom. All right, where were we? Winsor green, Winsor and Newton. Okay, that is gonna be over here, and that's gonna be my first darker green. Oh, I think I got too much pigment. Okay, Winsor green. Definitely like a bluer undertone. Really nice color. I mean, gosh, Winsor and Newton does make really pretty colors. And when you go dark, it's super dark, which I love. I like the range, like all the value that you can get between super dark and super light. It's nice. Yay! I do think I'm liking the Holbein dark green maybe a little bit better, but it's nice to have this bluer option. Okay, and Viridian, this color, whoa, I mean, it got super dry in the tube, it cracks, it's crumbly, ooh, I don't like it. You can even see on here like a little bit of crumbs. It's definitely a color that I used a lot when I was oil painting. So it's a color I'm familiar with as a bluer green and something I've just always kind of kept in the palette. Yeah, it doesn't go quite as dark as this, but it's a nice color. Just something I'm familiar with. This is definitely more saturated and rich. This is gonna be a little bit duller, a little bit more neutralized, creamy. All right, what's our next one? Brilliant green. This is a very bright green. It's almost like a neon type of green. I don't know if I'll ever use it. I have it. It's good to know it's there. But do I really need it? I don't know. How is my baby already waking up again? I see her on the monitor and she's moving, wiggling around. Her eyes are open. What in the world? Did she not eat enough? I mean, it's been maybe 30 minutes. She should be sleeping for like 4 hours at a time at least. Maybe she'll go back to sleep. All right, I'm just gonna leave it. I have to say though, I know I'm biased, but she's the cutest baby in the whole world. I just love her. Let's start to move these over. I'm so happy I'm doing these individual swatches because then I can just play with them, put them together with other colors, and then really get a more condensed palette or a more concise palette. Of course, you know, it's gonna be hard to narrow down. I love all the colors. I could probably get rid of this one though. Don't love you, brilliant green. Goodbye. So now let's get into some of the more yellow greens, starting with cadmium green. Okay, and that's pretty much all of my greens. So I'm just gonna leave these 3 blank, again, just in case I add something down the road and need a spot for a green. Okay, so let's get into these Holbein colors. So we left off here. I'm so happy I'm doing this, yay. It's gonna be so organized. And color trends change, so that's why I'm kind of like, do I hold on to these colors? Because prices, you know, prices are just gonna keep going up. So like, do I just hold on to these colors indefinitely? Or do I just only try to use the ones that are my favorites? I have a confession to make though. I do think that my sort of obsession with finding the perfect color palette, as well as physical palette, like, do I work in this? Do I work here? Do I, you know, I really don't like these metal tins. I'll show you how crumbly these are too. So these are Winsor and Newton, and you can just see how cracked and crumbly they get when they're dry. I don't like that. And this just gets sticky. Like where did that even come from? I mean, I know it's over here, but it's just like, they're dry. So why is it getting sticky? It's going all over the place. I don't like that. And then, you know, when you wet this metal tin, it gets rusty and I don't know. It's not a perfect system. And I'm on a quest to find a better system. Because I really do like working in gouache and I don't want to just give it up. Let's see how different it looks when it's like a darker color, because the lighter color, it's not like, I don't know, kind of still a bluer green. Not quite as yellow as I was thinking, but yeah, when it gets darker, doesn't look quite as blue. Not as blue as, like, you know, at least next to these. Okay, Terra Verte, moment of truth. That's a nice color. It's subdued, it's not in your face, but it's a very pretty green. The watercolor, yeah, it's just, the watercolor version it's a Winsor and Newton color, I believe, in the watercolor that I have. No, maybe it's Holbein. I don't know, but it's kind of, it's blurry, if that makes sense. It looks kind of like cloudy. That's a better word for it. It's kind of cloudy. And this has, we'll see how it dries, but this just looks more clear to me. More pigment on there. Yeah, that's a pretty color. It's just like more neutralized. It's kind of easy. Yeah, I feel like this is a color where it's like you don't have to do a ton of mixing. You can just go straight from the tube and there you have it. Okay, the next one is an olive green. Very trendy color right now. I'm getting more pigment. This one's a little more saturated than I thought it would be, but it's still very pretty. Maybe it's just looking saturated because I'm next to the Terra Verte. Okay, moss green. Let's do that one next. I feel like this one's gonna be a little more toned down. Yeah. It's a little more yellow than the Terra Verde, so that's nice. The thing about working with brighter pigments though is that you can always neutralize them and tone them down, which is nice in watercolor and gouache to have that option. Because you can always tone something down, but you can't really brighten it back up. I mean, you could maybe using other, you know, pigmented colors, but it's easier just to tone something down a bit. Let's get a little more of that pigment, see kind of the darker. Yeah, it's a nice like neutrally green. It's kind of what I expected. It's maybe more yellow than I would have thought. I would have almost thought this would have been more olive, but good to know. This almost is looking more limey. And I think the moss looks more olive. But that's fine. This is why we swatch. Okay, so now the sap green. This is a Winsor Newton color. And again, I feel like I'm familiar with sap green from working in oils, and I always thought of it as like a very yellowy green. But now that it's sitting next to these, I don't know that it's, I mean, it's definitely in the yellower family. It's not blue, but it's kind of bright. I love how regular gouache kind of sits between acrylic and watercolor. This is why I'm like not giving up on it. And I'm so determined to like get the right color palette and try to figure out this crumbling issue with my Winsor and Newton colors. Because I really do like it as a medium. I want to get better at it, and I don't want to have to worry about the medium. I just want to worry about the art and how much I suck at it. And just trying to get better at it. Okay, Cad Green Pale, that's going back to the Holbein. So let's go here. I do say, I think like these coming out of the tube, they feel almost like a creamy dry, almost like clay. And like, as I wet them, they wet really nice. I don't know how it's gonna be after like a month, you know, of them being dry. Is it gonna start to crack? Is it gonna get crumbly? Potentially, you know? But just the way it comes out of the tube is already like, it's not as wet as the Winsor and Newton ones. I really like it. And I'm probably gonna wanna replace all my Winsor and Newton colors with the Holbein, which I cannot afford to do right now. So we're not doing that, Lauren. Okay, now linden green. This is a very yellowy green. Very citrus, or citrine, chartreuse. Maybe that's the right word for it. Yeah, it's like a chartreuse. I mean, it almost looks yellow, but it's got that citrusy green undertone. Definitely right out of the tube, it looks more green. So yeah, darker, it looks more green. When you lighten it up, it almost looks yellow. Nice color. I do really like that color. All right, it would make sense to go into the yellows now. Yes, I think so. Green to yellow. So we're doing kind of the whole rainbow and just sort of these, I'm just gonna call them bridge colors because I forget the color wheel term. Is it tertiary, secondary colors? Analogous colors? I think that's what it is when it's they're beside each other. Okay, so I can kind of move that down and move this guy up a little bit. All right, so let's get into the yellows. Winsor & Newton yellows are here. I have this primary yellow. I'm not measuring these, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, primary yellow is just a very basic primary color. I guess that's why it's called primary yellow. It's not too green, it's not too orange. I'll let that dry for a second and move on to the Cad Lemon. You can see this is just a bit brighter. I guess this is a little more toned down, a little more desaturated, and maybe slightly more orangey than the Cad Lemon. So let's see how Cad Lemon looks next to the just regular lemon yellow. I always like the yellows, especially the lemon yellows, when I swatch them, and then I never use them. Okay, so these are really light washes. Let's go back and add more pigment and see how that changes. It's not like a huge difference. I mean, these are light, bright colors. It does get more saturated there. Let's try the Cad Lemon. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be as much of a difference as the brighter color, or the darker colors. Like, look at this Winsor green. You can really see this gradation with the yellows. They're already pretty light and bright. You don't see a huge difference between these two. This one looks a little bit more creamy, like it looks like it has more white in it, especially when you look at the darker color, like the heavier pigmented color, the thicker color, rather than it being so watered down. When it's watered down, I mean, this is less bright, I guess, but it's not a huge difference. All right, where's our Naples? Let's see, Naples Yellow Deep is next to Flesh Tint. Okay, so that's gonna be this color. This almost has like an orangey vibe. Interesting. Let's get more pigment on there. Yeah, it's a nice earthy color. There's quite a range from dark to light there. Okay, and then we have just a regular Naples yellow, which, yeah, that's this one. This is gonna be a lot lighter and creamier. Yeah, it's like more pastel almost. Has more like white in it. Okay, and then adding more pigment. You almost can't even tell when I add like a really thick, yeah. Okay, next we have our cadmium yellow. Yep, that's the permanent yellow dude. All right, I just had to double check out of the tube. I totally missed the cadmium yellow. Okay, so this is the permanent yellow deep. Winsor and Newton. All right, and we'll just do another one for, I just got them backwards, sorry guys. All right, there we go. Yay, white out. It's almost so orangey. I mean, how orangey that is. This is like a yellow orange. Why? I don't know, I don't understand. Why is permanent yellow called that? Nobody knows the answer. Okay, and then Cad yellow. Ow, if I can get the tube off. There we go, the lid off, I mean. Oh, so much binder is just like, it's so liquidy. It's totally different than the Holbein. Totally different. Let's get some water on this guy. And that is a nice yellow color. It's just a very basic. It is more orangey. See how green these look now? Once you get the orangey ones on there. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for just a second. So then I wanna go into my like reds and oranges. I don't have a ton of reds and oranges. All right, let's just finish this. I don't even think it's gonna change it that much to add this. It's just a very, well, yeah, it's a little darker. I do like the Cad yellow. I don't even think I need this one. Don't need it, don't need it. Weird how the Naples yellow is looking like that. Let's see how it dries. It's not all the way dry yet. All right, anyway, let's move these. Okay, now I want to get into more of my oranges, my reds. Maybe I just start with my oranges and then do reds, because I have so many rows. Yeah, and then, yeah, I think that's better. Then I have some extras. Let's start with cadmium orange. I need to write these down. Okay, so let's do our oranges and then we'll move into the reds, because we really do have a lot of rows, so there's no reason to, you know, the cadmium colors are, I think they're toxic, but they really are nice colors, so it's hard not to use them. I really hope that means like as long as you're not eating them, you'll be okay, right? I'm not smearing my fingers on these. You know, I use a brush, so it shouldn't be getting on my skin too much. Okay, so we have these 4 colors in orange, Cad orange. You really don't need like a ton of oranges because you can always just mix red and yellow. Of course, what did I say? I'm trying not to do so much mixing, but I don't know. I just don't know who uses like that much orange anyway. It's such a tricky color. Orange is really tricky. It's hard to get the right orange. I'm really liking the peaches though. I think I'm gonna love them. Like marigold is supposed to be more yellow orange, but it's just, yeah, I mean, my idea of marigold is more of a middle yellow orange color. Let's dab that so it's not. Let's get some more pigment. I mean, that almost looks red orange, not yellow orange. It's so weird. That's why you gotta do swatches. All right, let's go to the Holbein colors. And this is the John, however you say it. Brilliant. I love it. So peachy. It's peachy, but you can like definitely increase the saturation if you want to. I'm getting more pigment. Yeah. So creamy. I love these. Oh, the Holbein are so nice. I really, really hope they don't crack and get crumbly, but it doesn't seem like they're going to. Okay, the next one, it almost looks a little more pinky peachy. Yeah. Okay, getting more pigment. Yeah, oh gosh, that's such a nice, it's really a nice orangey pink. I like that a lot. Very, very pretty. I feel like it's not as bright as the watercolor too. The watercolor seemed like it was a little more saturated. Okay, let's move this up. Okay, so now I should do my reds. Okay, so the new color that I bought is a flame red. I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna use this very much. Okay. Let's get some more pigment. Yeah. Yep, it has a really nice, like it's a nice blood red, but it is a bluer red. I don't know, I don't think I would use it that much right now. But like I was saying, is it good just to have? Like, should I just build up my library of colors? Then I always have it, and the price is only gonna go up in the future, so you know what I mean? Might as well get it now, keep it. Primary red, gosh, this almost looks pink. What in the world? Definitely, I don't understand how that's primary red at all. These names. They need me on the team that's making these names because these don't make any sense. It's very pinky. I mean, it's good to know that. It's good to have a nice pink, but it's very, I don't know, it's kind of electric. It's a weird color. Hard to use, I think, straight out of the tube. I feel like you'd have to do some mixing, and that's what I'm trying to avoid, right? All right, cad red. So this is a nice kind of basic red. It's more orangey. Let's not let that bleed. Definitely looks more orangey than the alizarin. Okay, let's get some more pigment. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice color. I do, again, who doesn't love the cadmiums? It just looks so pink to me right now. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Why is it a red? Okay, Cad Scarlet. Don't you think of scarlet as being like a dark red too? It's like kind of a blood red. I don't know. This is more like poppy red. What are with these names? Add some more pigment to the top there. Definitely an orangey red, which I love. I love this color. It's really pretty. But I would call that like a poppy red, not a scarlet. Scarlet's like blood red, right? Okay, brilliant orange. That would be the Holbein color, brilliant orange. But it's really a red. It looks red to me anyway. Or I would use it as a red, even if it is orangey. Yeah. I mean, seeing this lineup, maybe I should have put it with the oranges, but I would use it as a red probably. Let's dab that up so we can kind of see how light it can get. Yeah, I mean, when you see how dark the pigment can get, I would totally use that as a red. It's very red-orange. Very bright too. Orange Lake Light. Yeah, I mean, maybe I should have put that with the orange. Straight out of the tube, it just looks so red. But I get it. I mean, it's more orangey. What's nice about these swatches is I can pick them up and then I can, you know, compare to these other colors on the palette. Okay, and now Flame Red. Yeah, that's a nice color. I might even like that better than the Cad Red. I don't know, I like the Cad. It's a nice color though. Very pretty. The Cad Scarlet's also really nice. See, this is, all of these are Winsor and Newton except for the Brilliant Orange, and that's kind of making me want to get a better red in the Holbein because it's just so nice. It's so nice. Okay, on to my pinks. Okay, so next I'm gonna do my pinks, which I kind of feel like that looks like a pink, but we're gonna start with Opera Pink, Winsor and Newton. And then I'm gonna do the pinks, the Holbein pinks that I bought, which are just pink. And y'all, I think I'm realizing I missed some Winsor and Newton greens. I think I totally missed them, so it's good I have some spaces. Okay, so we don't have a lot of pink. You can always add white to the reds to get other pinks, but I'm not gonna do that today. So Opera Pink is here. This is a really, really bright pink. It is fluorescent. It's a really pretty color. I feel like a lot of companies carry it, but I tend to not even use it that much because it is just so bright. How bright that is. Woo. It's definitely one that would require some mixing. All right, then the regular pink in the Holbein is here. And this is just kind of a nice kind of bubblegum pink. But I like that it's more pastel. I like that it's more like a true pink, like it has white mixed into it. I don't have to go around adding a bunch of white to all my reds, trying to figure it out. Like I can just use it straight out of the tube. And that's the more pigmented. Okay, and then we have Brilliant Pink, which is also just a nice, it's a more orangey, more pastel, a little bit lighter, more neutrally pink. And we don't want these to bleed together. Okay. I have this color in watercolor as well, and I really like it. I'm really excited to have it in the gouache. It's so hard to find good pinks, especially in these mediums. I think everyone just assumes you're gonna mix your reds, and they don't know I'm lazy. I like accuracy. Consistency, because I'm a nerd. So we have our pinks. Should we move into the purples? I don't think I ever, let's see, olive green. Oh yeah, olive green, oxide of chromium. Yeah, we didn't do these. Permanent green deep. We didn't do these. I'm gonna move these over here. Purples, I mean, do I want to leave this row? I guess I should leave that row for other pinks in the future and do this row of purples. That would be the responsible thing to do, Lauren. Okay, so first we have Spectrum Violet, and then Lilac from Holbein, which I'm the most excited about. I'm just loving these ice cream colors. I know you can add white to things and make it yourself, but I get it, okay? I understand, but I like having it made already, fresh out of the tube, guys. That's the way to do it. Maybe I'm overthinking it, probably so. I also have a ceramic palette coming that's handmade, and I'm so excited. I really should have waited to do this art haul until it arrives, but I couldn't wait. I was just so, I usually can't even like wait long enough to like pull out the camera. I dig right in. Anytime I get a new shipment of art supplies, it's just the best thing in the world. It's probably why I've never done an art haul before, but I really wanted to do one because I've really been enjoying watching other people's art hauls. And I'm really on the quest to like get this gouache right, so might as well record while I'm doing it, right? Okay, this is the Spectrum Violet. And let's get more pigment on there. It can get pretty dark. It's super saturated too, which is lovely. I like that it's a blue or purple too. I think purples are really coming on trend, and I'm liking this color. This light purple, here we go. I don't know that this color is as trendy like the pastel version is, I think. Oh, it's nice when it's watered down. But I don't know, these redder purples, I feel like they were more on trend a few years ago. Okay, next we have Brilliant Violet, which is also like a redder purple. They do look similar, but this one's more red for sure. All right, let's get some more pigment on there. Some of this water off my brush. Yeah, I don't know. I'm liking the Spectrum Violet, and then like, I think I'm gonna like the lilac. Maybe if I mix it with white, I would like it more. Yeah, I mean, this almost looks pinky, but it's a purpley pink. Definitely a purpley pink once you get more pigment on there, you really see the cool tones. Okay, then we're gonna do our lilac, and then we're gonna move into more neutrals. Yeah, I do really like that lilac color. Those are pretty together, and like with some greens. Although I feel like I could punch it up with a little bit of red. So now I'm like, I want it to be more red. Oh man, it's a good color though. I guess we should do these greens. I totally missed them. We have an olive green from Winsor and Newton. We have a permanent green deep. See, we have the Holbein one, but I didn't do the Winsor and Newton one. It's a nice color. Permanent green deep. The question is, do I need all these colors? That's the real question. It's a lot of greens. I went crazy on the greens. That's this one. Definitely like a yellowy green. I would have almost thought about this as more of a sap green. Just what I think of when I think of like a sap green. Get more pigment on there. Yeah, I don't know. I think of an olive as being maybe darker, maybe a little more toned down. What's our other olive? Yeah, this is the other olive. So we have one olive from Winsor Newton and one olive from Holbein. And then we have oxide of chromium. Yeah, I like how this is more muted. You can get darker with it, but really pretty. Definitely more like toned down, more muted, more matte looking. It's a nice color. If only they wouldn't get so crumbly. All right, now on to our neutrals. Sorry guys, my camera died, but I went ahead and wrote out all of the neutrals that we're gonna swatch next. So first we have our sepia Holbein, and I'm excited to kind of use this as my black. It's not such a warm brown. I mean, it's kind of brown, but it's like a cool brown, so I feel like I can get away with using it as a black maybe. I wanted to use this in a Payne's gray as sort of my blacks. Okay, so that's my only Holbein color. I'm not gonna swatch the metallics because I really didn't know what I was ordering. I should have known they were metallic, but I didn't. Okay, this is red ochre. It's a little blue for me. I don't know if I love that. I mean, highly pigmented, it's nice. I like that better. It's more of like a kind of a clay red, an earthy red. I don't feel like I have to have it though. Okay, what about the gold ochre that's next? This is an interesting color. Gold ochre. Never really heard of gold ochre, but there we go. I do feel like kind of what's on trend is that warmer neutrals are coming into play, so I definitely want to have a range. It's kind of a nice orangey color, you know, that's already neutralized. Oranges are so hard. I actually like that. Okay, so what's next? Raw sienna. Raw sienna is a good staple to have. It's kind of a nice yellowy, orangey yellowy color. Okay, so we're skipping the gold and then going straight to the raw umber. This is another one I used in oils quite a lot. I don't know if I really need it, but it's nice to have a more neutralized, cooler brown. I worry it's a little too green for me though. It does have sort of some green undertones. But I don't know, I mean, it creates a nice range. Okay, the next one is burnt umber. Great staple color, use this a lot in oils as well. It's a redder brown. It's kind of feels friendlier. Yeah, definitely redder. It gets crumbly though, like this one's already, I mean, I just squeezed it out tonight and it's already kind of getting crumbly. I don't like that. Burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is, again, a great staple color to have. I don't know if it's too similar to the gold ochre. Like, do you really need both? That is the question. Kind of makes for a nice orange option. And then yellow ochre. I guess I didn't put yellow ochre with the yellows. Maybe I should have. Yeah, really nice range of neutrals there. And then I do have two more colors that are kind of in my pink families. So this is the new one, and I have Flesh Tint, which is I've used before, and then I have Pale Rose Blush, which when I squeeze it out, it looks really similar to Flesh Tint. So I don't know if I need both. I'm gonna put them on my pink palette here. So let's see, Flesh Tint and Pale Rose Blush. Okay, let's see, Flesh Tint. It's a very nice, like, muted color. It's a nice, it can serve as a good pink too. Nice muted pink. Get some more pigment on there, yeah. Very, very nice. And then the next one is the Pale Rose Blush. Let's see if it's any different. Or did I basically just buy the same color? I mean, they're very similar. We'll see how they dry. Not that different. Yeah, I think those are gonna be too close. Okay, so let's take a look at this full palette here. As you can see, we have all the colors of the rainbow pretty much. It's a really nice, beautiful palette. And I have a lot of options here. Like, I can go through and I have more spaces too if I wanna buy more colors and add. So I'm really liking the way this palette is just gonna be like a really nice library, and it's a good reference to come back to. But what I love about all of these little swatches, I'm gonna put this off to the side, is that I can come up with custom palettes based on my swatches. And so one of the next projects I'm working on is going to be a jungle project. That's kind of, I'm trying to get a nice jungle palette, and I'm also trying to get a nice desert palette. So those are two things that I'm really working on and want to. So that's something that I can take these chips and really play with them. As you can see, I've tried starting to do that here with my watercolors. I don't like watercolor as much as I like gouache, but I feel like I could maybe intermix them a bit. And so that's something I might do, but I don't like that you can't layer light on top of dark. However, I could, you know, always use the lighter gouache colors and layer on top of watercolors. So that's something that I'm thinking about. But these colors are all really nice for a desert palette. Again, I don't think I need this Pale Rose Blush, and so I'm just gonna put that off to the side. So let's think about colors that we really need. Like in terms of purples, like maybe I just go here. In terms of the reds, I don't know, that might be too bright. Let's see. I mean, maybe that flame red, that's a new color and I like it. It's more muted, which is looking nice. I love these peachy colors. The question is, do I really need this one if I have the Flesh Tint? I mean, they are different, so I'll leave it for now. I do really like both of these, and I kind of Oh, baby's waking up. Gotta go feed her. I'll be back. So I'm liking this palette the way it is. Like it's a really nice fall palette actually. What I'm looking for is more of a desert palette. I want something that can be desert, but also maybe jungle, which I know is like really two palettes. But like this is looking really nice for my desert colors. I think some of these more yellowy greens are gonna be nice for a desert palette. My husband and I went to Egypt, so I'm trying to build a palette based on our travels and our trip and all of that. And we have so many greens because I bought so many greens. I almost could get rid of the sap green, which is surprising me. And again, this is nice. I did the same thing. Cad green, no, that's way too bright. That's a nice color, but do we need it? I don't know. Do we need both of these? I mean, it's like, I feel like they're similar. And do I want a more bluey green? Like for a desert palette, I like these neutrally blues. I probably only need one of them, but I really like both. It's hard to decide. Maybe just the indigo. I don't know, the Prussian blue is so pretty. So I think I'm leaning towards not having all these turquoisey blues, even though it's hard because we went to Dahab and the water is really blue, but I'm thinking I like having the purples. I kind of like, these are very similar, and if the Holbein color, if the Holbein paint stands up a lot better, I might go for this one, but I really like the way this color looks. I'm just gonna kind of put that off to the side. I don't know that I need this one. Oh, these are all so pretty. Maybe I could lose that. I mean, these are similar, but we did go to the beach, so that's why I'm including some of these. And I know that's a very different like feel than desert. But this, anyway, this is why I like having these loose swatches, because you can just play around with them. And okay, now that that's dry, which one do we want? I mean, I really like both. I don't know that we need that one. I feel like I could lose that, even though it's kind of changed things up. I really like this gold ochre color, but I don't know that we need it. Like, do we need this one? I mean, I like that, I like having it in there, but let's see. Look how much I toned down my greens, even though I bought so many. But for a desert palette, I'm really liking this. With the purples, it's almost like you don't need these. Like that's really nice. And then that's also cool. And I don't hate the way they look together. I mean, I think that more purples and teals play nicely together. Yeah, okay, I think I'm liking this for desert. It's really nice, really, really pretty. Then what do I do for jungle? For jungle, I probably need less warms, but did I get rid of all my pinks? See, I love having a pink. It looks weird with the purples too. I don't know, what if I remove these? This is tough. I feel like I would use a pink all the time. I don't understand. Maybe, I don't know, for some reason I'm not loving the way it looks with the rest of the palette. Man, why are the pinks so hard? They're always so hard.